Climate change is a global phenomenon that continues to expose Uganda to disasters more frequently than ever before. Though some of the disaster-prone areas have been identified because of the magnitude and frequency of disasters that have occurred there, government cannot easily predict what is likely to happen in many other parts of the country without carrying out deeper scientific studies and consultations. As a measure to address this hurdle to effect disaster management, government intends to amend the current legislation on disaster management and identify disaster-prone areas.
The country needs to know that climate change is real, it's with us. And with the climate change, we are going to suffer a lot of emergencies.
Some of the disaster-prone areas are on the slopes of Mount Elgon, where landslides and mudslides have killed hundreds over the last few years. The recent disaster in Bududa left at least 43 people dead, with over 800 displaced. Other areas prone to disasters include Kabala and Kisoro in southwestern Uganda. And these areas are hilly, and an increased human activity on the slopes have made these areas risky to the populace. In the east of the country, the areas of Teso sub-region and the districts like Butareja have suffered devastating flooding in the recent years. River Nyamamba in Rwenzori region has on several occasions also burst its bank, leaving hundreds in Kasese displaced, and Karamoja sub-region is prone to drought.
Mapping of the whole country and knowing Kisoro has this kind of disasters. Kabale has this kind of disasters. Hazard mapping is extremely important for us. There are areas in the Kabale hills that are already beginning to show stress because of human activities. Those people eventually will need to be relocated.
Other key amendments in the law require that the contingency fund used in managing disasters be transferred from the Ministry of Finance to the Ministry of Disaster Preparedness to enable quicker response to disasters.
We are proposing the contingency fund will sit directly under the ministry.
Musa Ecweru also says all major hospitals will be compelled by law to have a provision of a landing pad for helicopters used in emergency response.
We must be able to airlift these people, put them in what we call a helipad in the hospital, and roll them down to the theater as quickly as possible. That's all that is seen in the civilized world. We can replicate it here.
However, the challenge is that the government of Uganda does not have a single air ambulance to utilize the proposed landing pads for helicopters.
We can borrow services from the police. A few days ago, we had an emergency in Pakwaj. Immediately, I sounded the UPDF. They were able to surrender their helicopter.
The proposed amendments also seek to harmonize the role of the army in disaster management and response.
In our suggestion, every unit should have 20% of its men and women trained in disaster response, particularly search and rescue. That's what happens in some parts of the world.
The law will also address the role of Uganda Red Cross and clarify the organizational relationship in the partnering with government to handle disasters in the country.
How does the Uganda Red Cross relate with the central government in the management of disasters?
Ecweru says these and other amendments are expected to be tabled and passed by Cabinet before the end of December, and later Parliament will debate them and pass them into law. Jingo Francis, NTV.